Hi, and welcome to Ben's Business Podcast, episode number 56. Today I'm going to be talking about how to close the sale. So, what is selling to me? Well, it's perfectly explained in this book, which basically giving you some takeaways, but some experience that I've got on sales that I've been applying some of the lessons I've learned from Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, Grant Cardone, and in the real life and real business world, as well as not just the knowledge I've been learning, the actual applied knowledge. So what selling is to me is a way of service. It's a way of benefiting others because, as Tom Hopkins says, the better you are at sales, the more that you benefit other people, which I believe is 100% true. If we can learn to help people make good decisions, that's what sales is all about, then we can make them, and we know that our product or service that we are selling is a good product and service and it's going to benefit that person, then we are serving them in a way. We're helping, because people are, let's face it, the truth is people are bad at making decisions for themselves and in day-to-day decision making, and especially in purchasing something. So we're talking about actually making sales and purchasing, but sales can happen in any environment. It's persuading and convincing and leading people towards something they kind of want to do anyway. And that's what sales is to me. It's just kind of being that person on kind of helping them get over the fence. Because, for example, if you've purchased something in the past that you were on the fence with buying, did you not appreciate that salesman there to help you make the purchase and make an informed decision? You weren't pushed into it. They kind of led you and helped you to get over the fence. And then when you look back, you're glad that you went ahead with that product or service and you've really benefited from it. Your business is growing or your family's benefited. You've got more time, you've saved money, anything like that. If that's how sales works, the good way of selling is it's persuading and convincing someone to go ahead with something they already want. So you have a product or service that someone already wants. You're just helping them make the decision to go ahead and purchase it and make it easy for them to make that decision and purchase it from you. And outside of business as well, you're just helping them make decisions and getting something that they already want. And that's it. It's like a dad or a mum telling their son or daughter to go ahead and do something that they're on the fence with, deciding whether to go for it or not. So that's kind of my definition of sales. It's service and it's benefiting others by helping them make decisions. And that's what a professional salesman really is doing, a professional salesperson. I have a belief that every lead is a good lead. So my business model and what I do is I help people get more leads through the internet, through search engine optimization skills that I have. And I provide leads. I'm a lead generation service in essence. And I partner up with people. I don't actually have as many clients anymore. I have more business partners where I basically make a percentage of what their business profit is from the day that I kind of start and grow their business. And I provide and sell leads. Thanks for joining, Daniel. Let me know if you've got any questions on this topic of closing the sale. And I give my clients leads. So one of the things I've wanted to learn is how to actually help my clients or my business partners close the sale by learning everything I know, possibly could know about sales myself, and then I can teach my business partners how to close the leads that I'm providing them. That's why I have to master sales. And I think it's just a necessary skill for every business owner to learn, is to master the art of selling, which is what this book's called, How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins, and I highly recommend it. It's a 5 out of 5 from Ben's Business Book of Choice, and I'll be posting this into Ben's Business Book Club as well, which has just triggered me to post that in there. Okay. Okay. So if you've got a qualified lead that's come in, so say an email, a phone call, and they're qualified. And what I mean by qualified is that they want what you have. and they actually need what you have, and they maybe have a bit of a desire, like a burning desire. And when they've got a burning desire for something you need, it's actually very easy to sell. It's very easy to get them to move ahead. You just need to know how to lead them towards making that decision to actually go ahead and purchase and buy whatever you're selling. And that's what it comes down to. If it's a qualified lead, every lead is a good lead. So if in that case, every lead is a good lead that's coming in, because we know we get like our sales ratios that we sell maybe 1 in every 10 people that we prospect and call out. But I'm talking about leads coming in as well as prospecting and going out to people and making cold calls. If we've got a ratio, but if we kind of change our mindset in the idea that every lead is potentially a good lead because they're qualified, they actually really need what we've got, then the way we come to that definition, as Grant Cardone called it, sell or be sold, which is book's named after. So we're either selling people on our idea, or we're being sold on someone's objection, for example, or their reason not to go ahead, or their reason why they need to think about it. So we're either selling or we're sold. So sell or be sold. That's a great book as well by Grant Cardone. But it's just the concept itself. You're either sold on their idea or they're sold on your idea. And that's it. So one of the kind of steps to making sure that we're prepared for closing the sale, which this video is about, is making sure that we're prepared when these objections, these situations come up, or questions that are difficult for us to answer. We should actually never be in a position where we're basically winging it, where we're basically not sure how we respond to that question. We actually get to a point, obviously at the beginning, it's difficult when you've not sold anything, but if you've sold and made sales and had lots of people in front of you in prospect and situations, or just sales meetings, we know roughly what's going on in these meetings, what they're going to say, and the more experience, the easier this gets. So as Tom Hopkins says, losers wing it, winners prepare. So make sure you're prepared for the potential questions you get back or objections that you get back. And a good example, he calls it SPR, stimulus, pause, response. And he was saying, if like you walked into your house at night, you've got cats or a dog or something, you stand on an animal's tail, their instant responses, so they jump the pause section. They just go from stimulus, you've stood on their tail, and response, and they obviously react to that. Whereas us human have the stimulus, pause, and response. And what we can do with the P of that is we can practice, drill, and rehearse. So we actually get a decision. We have a bit of a pause before we go and have a response. And that's where we're intelligent to be able to do that if we practice and rehearse things and are a wee bit more prepared for when these situations that are most likely going to happen in sales, when you get objections to something about your product or service, we're prepared to turn them around on that, or just basically tell them the right answer and get them back on track towards actually you and them doing business together or making a sale. And that's basically what happens. So like the prospect, this, for example, there's an initial phone call, and you make the phone call out, for example, you do a greeting, and then you build rapport, you have a discussion. But in basic, what happens is we basically want to be asking lots of questions. We don't want to be telling. We ideally want to be asking questions and just listening. So as we're listening, we're asking questions. The customer or the prospect is coming back with us with maybe other questions about the product that we're talking about. But we're really looking to farm and just find out lots of information first up front. And then when we start to kind of lead the sales meeting or the sales call, what will happen is questions will come up, objections will come up to when we're trying to lead them towards a sale. And as those objections come up, we already have in our head, because we've practiced, drilled, and rehearsed enough times to know what's coming up in the role play that we've done before this situation's come up. But we've basically already, like, we see into the future almost. So the next step is the prospect's probably going to say this, and I already know what to say to that. And it should be like that sharp, where you know what you're going to say next. Otherwise, when you're unprepared, you lose. So when you know all the responses or objections and you have a good response to each of them, we have maybe 5 of them, for example, but we have 6 responses to those objections, and they basically run out of objections. They eventually go ahead and buy because they are qualified. Remember, they want what you have, but it's very natural just to like resist going ahead and purchasing something. It's human nature. So understanding that it's service, they're qualified, they want what you have. You just need to get them to the point where they've gone through all those objections, which is their pattern anyway. And once you get to the other end of that, that's when they're ready to go ahead. And then that takes us on to the next step where we need to now close the deal. So we need to actually go through that resistance that we all have of asking. People like asking a girl on a date. It happens in personal and in business life. And business owners are terrible at asking for money and asking for people to move to the next step because we don't want to be pushy. We've had bad experiences of salespeople, and we resist being like them. So we don't want to be pushy. And I agree, we should never be pushy when we're selling or we're in business. We should always be leading with leading questions. So like asking them and kind of like going back to something that they said that you maybe took a note of that they really enjoyed or liked what you said. You go back to that and you say, well, you like this benefit, you like this feature. And then you kind of want to just say, so do you want to go ahead and purchase, or do you want to get everything signed up? And you have to ask. And that's the biggest problem I think a lot of business owners have when they get to the point where it's time to actually, you can see the customer's body language that they're ready to buy. They're showing all the signs that they're ready to buy, but you don't actually ask them to buy. So one of the ways of asking someone to buy is, what's your long card number, and getting a form out. So always having like sheets on you. And I think Tom Hopkins said in the book, How to Master the Art of Selling, that you had a motto of, I'm wherever I am, I'm always ready to close a sale. So he's always got like forms, like order forms or standing order forms in his bag, which I also do as well. So the sale can always happen wherever you are, because it can happen in any environment. It could just come from a networking environment and bumping into someone. And he's basically saying that we should always be ready to close a sale, because when we add time to a sale happening, like someone's going to think about it or they'll come back to you, we then give ourselves an extra job. So it's easier just to close a sale there and then if you think they're ready. So don't put any delay on it. Now is always more certain than later, Tom Hopkins says, which is a great way to put it. So ask the question, ask the closing question, and then shut up. And that's something like asking what purchase order number to use, what's their card number, how would you like to pay, here's the form, please, would you sign up? Something like that, and just move them. You have to lead the people to the next step, because again, we're going back to that area where people are terrible at making decisions, especially when it comes to money. They might need to ask someone else. So we need to have like all these kind of sales objections to make it happen there and then, to avoid any time being added to the sale happening. Like if you let someone go away, they might go away for a whole week and not come back to you. And then you've kind of lost the deal, and you need to get back to that connection that you had with them at that moment where they looked like they were going to buy. So my advice to you is just to make sure that when you've got a good connection with the prospect customer, that you get things moving forward there and then. And again, we don't want to push. We do have to ask, and we have to go through the resistance of asking for something. And that's the hardest part, I find, that most people struggle with. So if we can get past that and get into the habit of asking for what you want and directly communicating that as easy as possibly as you possibly can, that's the way that sales will actually happen once you go through the process of closing on their positive stimulus that you're getting from them, that you can see they're ready. So I hope you found this video helpful. I've got a quick question here. How do you draw your ideal client through the process of overcoming their apprehension of investing in personal development, coaching, and mentorship? Okay, it's a long question. So how do you get them through the process of overcoming their apprehension of investing in personal development? Well, I find that personal development is a very easy thing to sell people on, as long as, like, so Grant Cardone talks about this, that we sell the way that we buy. You sell the way that you buy. So if you think about it that way, if you're very much a personal development person, which I know you are, Daniel, then you've got the conviction behind the words that you're using to convince someone to go ahead and purchase something that's of personal development and coaching and mentorship. So if you've got a coach and you've got a mentor yourself, and you're also buying lots of books and going to lots of workshops, then I think there's no reason for someone not to believe you. It's just maybe having the right tactics in place to make people actually make decisions with you, and overcoming all the objections they have in their head, kind of a blockage to actually make decisions that they just have stuck. No matter how good the product sounds, that's the problem I think most salespeople have, is actually getting someone who wants what you have over to here where they actually own it and then purchased it. So I think that's the personal development's a fairly easy thing to sell. I could be a good client. I like to buy into personal development and workshops and books and courses and things. So, and I think a lot of people who, once they got the bug of buying books or buying into themselves and investing in themselves, they become buyers. They're hooked on that idea that they need to keep investing in themselves to stay ahead and stay up to date. So personal development is and like I'm saying, is easy. There's obviously a lot of choice in the personal development world as well. So I probably need to know more specifically what in personal development you're selling. But I think it's all about making sure that we follow the process I've just explained here, which I hope that will help you in making sure that people who are interested, qualified leads, become customers. And that's by helping them make decisions and making decisions for them as well. So I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave in the comments if you watched this on a replay. Just leave in the replay in the comments #replay. Thank you.